1 Kings chapter 13 verse 24. And when he was gone, a lion met him by the way and slew him. And his carcass was cast in the way, and the hart stood by it. The lion also stood by the carcass. The question today is how in the world did a small boy born to two poor teachers way back in Africa end up with 5 different degrees, 2 of them PhDs, obtained in America? How did this same boy become an inventor, a USPTO inventor? How did this same boy end up with TV shows in America? How did he end up sending his children to great schools in Asia and America? If you are one of those people that are looking up to God for divine promotion, you've come to the right place. Because the answer to those questions is simple. Divine promotion. Divine promotion. Against all odds, that small boy happens to be me. If you know the salary of teachers back in Africa, you will know that it is almost an impossibility for all those things to happen to someone like me. Hallelujah. In 1 Kings chapter 13 verse 24, we find the secret to divine promotion. Today we're going to talk about divine promotion, the things you need. Because many people doesn't understand what it takes to get divine promotion. They just do things and they expect God to bless whatever they do. Hallelujah. 3 things we're going to talk about today. 3 things. 3 things that helps lead to divine promotion. 1, hearing. The ability to hear the voice of God. 2, obeying. Christianity is about obedience. It's about obedience. And 3, obeying now. Listen, I know that there are people who are not Christians that are successful in this world. But if you want divine promotion, you want God to promote you, then there are ways, there are things that you need to do. And they can be summarized in these 3 things. The ability to hear what God is saying. The ability to see. The Bible talks about the sons of Asa. I said they had the understanding of times. They had understanding of times. I can ask many other questions, okay, about people who apply these 3 different principles and obtain great results. One particular professor back in Africa, of course, you know what professors get paid. I remember I was sharing about how his church wanted to have a convention one year. And the leader of the church then, of course he was not a leader then, the leader told him, this year I don't think we will be able to have a convention. And he asked the leader of the church, why? And the leader said, I've looked at the finances and I don't think we can make it. This same professor who had only one used car for his entire family went back home, sold the used car, gave the money to the founder of the church, and the money was used for the convention that year. Now, fast forward to today. How in the world did this poor professor was able to afford, how in the world was he able to buy his own private jet? Private jet. Of course, many people criticize him for being a leader of a church and using, flying around in private jets. But they forgot today he sold his used car. His used car. Just so that the church could have its annual convention. Divine promotion is different from earthly promotion. It is very, very different. So we start with hearing. And going back to 1 Kings chapter 13, verse 24, it was a story about a prophet. Israel has just been divided into the northern and southern kingdom, two different kingdoms. The house of Judah was ruled by one leader, and the rest of Israel went with a different leader. And this leader had no fear of God in him. He just did things according to his intellect, as we will call it today. If he felt it was good, then he did it. It didn't matter whether it was right or wrong. He just did it. And a day came that he set up an altar. He set up an altar for the kingdom, for the people of the kingdom that he was ruling over. And he decided to officiate at that altar, which was completely contrary to the laws of God. And as he was about to start the process, God sent a prophet from Judah. And this prophet had some specific instructions. Hallelujah. If you want divine promotion, you got to listen. You got to listen. You got to hear God. You got to obey His commandments, and you have to do it now. Actually, I was tempted to title this message, The Urgency of the Moment. But I think divine promotion is okay. Because there are many Christians all over the world, believers all over the world, praying that God will one day give them divine promotion. That they will be divinely promoted someday. I pray that this message will help you out. So God told the prophet, go and tell that king, go and prophesy against the altar. Because what this king is doing is contrary to what I have laid out for my people. He is in charge of 10 tribes in Israel, and he is directing them in the wrong way. And I need someone to go out there and speak. So the man of God went there, he got there. If you want to read more about this story, you go to 1 Kings chapter 12, chapter 13, then you'll see the background of the story. He got there and he prophesied as God asked him to prophesy. But there were other instructions. One of them was he should not go back by the way that he came. And he should not eat or eat any food in that place. He should just come back. So he prophesied. As he prophesied, this king had no regard for God. He had no respect for God. So he thought he could do anything he wanted with the prophet, with the man of God. He stretched forth his hand and God performed the miracle right there. His hand got withered. He could not move back his hand. It got dried up. And when he saw the power of God, he began to beg the prophet, the man of God. He began to plead with the man of God. He said, please, please, pray to your God so that my hand can be restored. And the man of God had mercy on him. So he prayed, and his hand was restored. As soon as his hands were restored, he told the man of God, come to my house. I need to give you some blessings. I need to give you some gifts. And that's a message for another day, because sometimes we begin to worship the gift instead of the giver. Hallelujah. We begin, when God begins to give, to allow prosperity, blessings in our lives, we turn away from the giver of the gift and we begin to worship the gift that he has given us. The man of God said, no, even if you give me half of your kingdom, I'm not going to do that. So he began to go. But unfortunately, he decided to stop and rest. There are many lessons in this particular passage for us, especially those of us who desire divine promotion. Listen, when I finished my second degree, my MBA program, I set goals for myself. And I said, my goal in life is to become the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer. I mean, why would you study MBA if you don't want to become a senior executive of an organization? So I set that goal. And I can tell you, I can attest, I can testify today that God can take you beyond your wildest imagination. Divine promotion is not at the level of your imagination. It's far above the level of your imagination. Well, within 2 years of graduating from the MBA program, I became a CEO. I was only in my 20s. Hallelujah. And that was when I realized that human mind cannot fathom what God has prepared for his beloved. His worshippers, his believer, the people who follow him. He has things for them that they cannot even imagine. And that's why we need to learn how to listen to him. So the man decided to rest. And as he was resting, there was a big prophet in that land. Well-known prophet. Probably in those days, by today's standard, on TV, huge congregation, big followership. when he heard about what happened, he got up and started running after the small prophet that came out of Judah. He got there, he finally found him because he was resting. That's one little message right there. When it comes to the things of God, it says, Christians, seek not yet repose. Hallelujah. We cannot lay our hands on the plow and look back. We have to keep going. When the Spirit of God says it's time to go, it said a son that sleeps in summer is a son that brings shame. And another verse says, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of hands. Says, so shall your poverty come suddenly. So shall your poverty come suddenly. Make the man of God, the small man of God, the big man of God met the small man of God. And said, please come to my house and eat with me. Of course, he was living in that place where God told the small prophet, you cannot eat or drink in this place. So the prophet out of Judah, the small prophet, told the man of God, the big man of God, he said, I cannot go with you because God told me I should not do that. And then the big man of God lied. Listen, as a believer, if you have to choose between what God is telling you and what the big prophets of this world are telling you, always go for what God is telling you. Because you don't know where they're coming from. You don't know if they have evil intentions towards you. The big man of God said, hey, God spoke to me too. An angel of the Lord came to me. And he said, it's okay for you to eat and drink. And a small prophet made a big mistake. He turned around. Listen, if you want divine promotion, sustained divine promotion, the type of promotion that will make people see you and glorify your God, you got to wait upon your Lord. You got to wait upon your God. You got to hear him, obey him, and obey him right away. You got to obey him at the moment, immediately. Jesus said, I must walk the works of him that sent me while it is day, because the night comes when no man can walk. John chapter 9 verse 4. I must walk the work of him that sent me while it is day, because night comes when no man can walk. He followed him, and that is what led us to 1 Kings chapter 13 verse 24 that I read earlier, where you see that a lion came and destroyed a small prophet, the man that had just performed a great miracle in the presence of multitudes of people. But because he will not pay attention to every detail of what God has told him, he destroyed himself. While he was at the big man's house, the big prophet, the popular prophet, while he was still eating at his table, a word came from the Lord. It said, because you have disobeyed me, you have disobeyed. Listen, There are people who are not Christians who are very successful by the world standard. But if you want divine promotion, you want your promotion to come supernaturally, these are the steps that are required. These are the steps that are necessary. These are the things we need to do. We need to be able to listen to Him. And someone says, but how can I listen to Him? That is a topic for another day. But you need to learn. God can speak to you in many ways. I remembered one time, shortly after I finished my second degree, I was seeking the face of the Lord. I was praying. I was saying, God, what do you want me to do next? Because by that time I had realized that my own ideas, my imaginations, they are not enough to carry me to where I should be. I said, God, what should I do? And the Spirit of God said, you are going to serve me outside your country. Spirit of God said, I will use you outside your country. Hallelujah. You have to learn how to hear the voice of the Lord. He said, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. Romans chapter 8 verse 14. You have to learn how to listen to Him. In actual fact, God desires to speak to you. God desires to commune with you. But really, there are many ways. There are many ways. I remember one Sunday during that time, I went to church. And the preacher that preached that day said, by this time of tomorrow, when I had that message from the pulpit, I knew it was for me. Hallelujah. Listen, through this media, God can speak to you. Through your minister, your part. In fact, there were times when God spoke to animals in the past. Donkeys. God can speak to you. You just have to be sensitive. Can speak to you in your dreams. Some people have discounted dreams because dreams can come from different places. Basically. So they've discounted dreams. But God speaks through dreams. You as a Christian, discounting dreams is at your own detriment. Hallelujah. Just because you don't understand what God is telling you in your dream doesn't mean it doesn't mean that God is not speaking to you. Some people have dreams, they discount the dream. They just go about their daily lives, and then something happens. They remember, oh my goodness, God told me about this in my dream. I had a dream about this. That was God talking to you. Maybe if you had paid attention, you could have saved yourself. On that day, the man of God said, by this time of tomorrow. Yes, by this time of tomorrow. Listen, when you hear, you need to know. When the man of God is speaking, and a message is for you, you need to be able to discern it in your spirit and just accept it and run with it. It was a time when I was arranging my flight out of the country. Flights were booked. It was very difficult to get a seat on the plane. The previous week we tried without success. And when I heard, by this time of tomorrow, I went back to the airline very early in the morning. And they said, still we have no seat for you, but come back later. As I was leaving that place, I said, by this time of tomorrow, Hallelujah. God can speak to you through messages on TV, in your church. Can speak to you directly. We need to hear the voice of God if we really need divine promotion. I remember the testimony of a guy who was an apprentice, and he just graduated. He was looking forward to a lot of financial prosperity as soon as his training was over. So his master called him and gave him some money. He was totally disappointed when he saw the amount of money that his master gave him. And one day, he went to church to pray. And the Spirit of God said, even that money that was not enough. Listen, we're talking about divine promotion, okay? As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. It said, those who know their God, they shall run, they shall not be weary. They shall walk, they shall not faint. They shall mount up wings like eagles. They will do exploits. They will do wonders. They will do great things. They will move on to do great and mighty things. Hallelujah. Went to church one day and the Spirit of God said, that money, I want you to give it to the church. And he laughed. He laughed. Long story short, divine promotion is totally different from natural promotion, because divine promotion is supernatural. A man of God once said, miracles don't make sense. Hallelujah. Because sometimes when we are told to do certain things, we just feel this doesn't make sense. Well, miracles don't make sense. Okay? That's why they're called miracles. Hallelujah. After struggling for a while, he went back and gave the money to the church. And within that week, he met a former client of his master. Just walking on the road. The Spirit of God directed him to walk in that direction. Met the guy and they started talking. Hi, how are you? Wow, I heard you have graduated. I like you. I want to do business with you. I have a sheep that just birthed. I want you to help me clear it. This particular individual was in shipping and clearing business. And he made so much money from that single deal that he had to share his testimony. Hallelujah. Hearing is the first step. But if we hear God and we don't obey what He has asked us to do, it's no use. Hallelujah. It's no use.